regional council. And of course, those models, they elect the regional chair at large across the, by all the voters across the region of Halton. And finally, Mr. Mayor, I would ask that City Council engage the 6 St. Catharines regional councillors in this discussion. I suggested it would be useful for this engagement to be done before staff presents options, so staff can have the benefit of hearing the discussion among city and regional councillors. All 18 elected taxpayer representatives will be affected, and we'll have a vote on this issue, the 12 at the City Council and the 6 and the Mayor at the Regional Council as well. So I think we should do it before staff presents the option. We should get together as a group, I think, to avoid the them versus us, region versus city scenario that can crop up in this discussion if we don't sit down and discuss it openly and casually as the group that most affected and most able to make the change. And I think we should do it before staff presents their options. I'm hopeful that there will be similar discussions at all 12 municipalities around the region, and that in 2.5 years we can achieve the triple majority or the consensus needed to ask the province to make the change. We need to move on this reform this term. I think the public has asked that. We have talked about it many times and done little for the benefit of St. Catharines or the region or the taxpayer over the years. This motion from Councillor Secord tonight is, in my opinion, a good first step, and I would like to be involved in the discussion as a regional councillor for the City of St. Catharines. It's clear that, as always, I'm speaking of my own personal opinions. I don't speak for the other 6 regional councillors, but they have indicated, and I appreciate the attendance tonight of Councillors Katzman, Caslin, and Petrowski as perhaps a reflection of their interest in this discussion. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would be pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Any questions, members of the City Council? Councillor Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chance, for attending. I just have a couple of questions. When you discuss the Halton region that you prefer as a personal opinion, yes. Do they elect their regional councillors by ward or by overall, or by?
They elect them by ward, I think. Okay. Within that Halton model, there are several models. I think Burlington, their entire city council is reduced to 8, and that's how many seats they have on the region. So their entire city council is the regional council representation. I think it's one of the others where they have ward, and they have a ward councillor and they have a regional councillor, and they do that on the ballot. It says yep. City councillor, regional councillor. There's a couple of other models.
So their ward councillors are full-time as well as the regional councillors, and they're elected by ward throughout the city, is that correct?
Well, I doubt if their ward councillors are full-time. Their pay scale probably doesn't reflect that. But the regional councillor that serves and has a vote at the city table and at the regional table is most likely full-time. I don't think you could properly do the job on a part-time basis. But they allow what happens with the ward councillor is as much as we are, is part-time councillors, the elected taxpayer. That model exists. So in one of the cities, you have both. You have 6 full-time double-duty councillors and 6 ward councillors. So it allows, the public or the councillor that wants to do it part-time and be partly involved in it.
So you'd have a part-time regional councillor and 2 part-time ward councillors then?
I guess you could right? Under that model. Okay. In effect, you'd have 6 part-time councillors, city councillors, and you'd have 6 double-duty councillors that serve both at the city and the region. Okay. And that, in effect, would be a full-time occupation, I would think.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Timms, what do you perceive as the appetite outside of St. Catharines for this reform?
Well, this model that I'm talking about, I think, has appetite around the region. Because the model that I'm talking about doesn't take anything away from any other municipality in terms of representation, It simply asks that their regional councillor now would have a seat at their city table. And I think there is an appetite in Welland. I know the City of Thorold has passed a motion last term that says exactly that. And I haven't had a real good, clear conversations with Niagara Falls. But the notion is that it doesn't take anything away from any other municipality, and that will add a seat. And some of them will simply, if the councillors at large, I think the Thorold model, they simply take one of their 8 seats and make it the regional councillor, make it the double-duty councillor. So they don't increase the size of their council, they just take one city councillor seat away and make that a double-duty.
So this is kind of a one-size-fits-all. Whatever St. Catharines does, or whatever St. Catharines decides upon, Welland will do the same, Niagara Falls will do the same?
No, it doesn't have to be
Doesn't
one
have to be
size.
that way.
What would have to be the same is that the region council would be made up of double-duty councillors and the mayors. How the individual municipalities select that double duty or how they set that up is up to the local city council. As I said with the Halton model, there's 4 different models within that model in terms of how the city does it.
Right, that's what you're suggesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Stack?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor, for coming and talking to us tonight. My question is, in all these models that you have looked into, do they all include the mayors as automatic members of the regional council?
Yes.
Thank you.
No further questions? Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Timms, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Just a motion to receive, Councillor Elliott, Councillor Secord, all in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Thank you.